Hello everyone, the 316, Lego Maniac 316 here, whatever you want to call me. I'm back with another DC Multiverse McFarlane Toys action figure review. This time I have the King Shark Build-A-Figure Wave PolkaDot Man. He retailed for $24.99. However, I found mine for only $19.99, so I got a bit of a good deal on this one. They were running like a toy sale. Anyway, so yeah, this is my second McFarlane DC Multiverse figure, and I think this one has a lot of good going for it. So let's go ahead and get straight into the Build-A-Figure parts. So it comes with the head of King Shark, which we will take a look at that once I get all four parts, or all four figures, so I can build them. And then it comes with his little gut. So now I have a head, a belly, and two arms. So I'm going to go ahead and put those off to the side. And then we can take a look at the actual figure. So every McFarlane DC Multiverse figure comes with a stand, which I have him on because I couldn't stand him up on his own. And it also comes with a card of the character, which is pretty nice, but truth be told, I don't really need cards with my action figures. But it's still nice that it's something different. It just shows kind of quality. There's a little blurb on the back there. Okay. Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at the accessories. So first of all, you have his goggles, which can be put on the figure. I will show that in a little bit. And, he can hold them in his hand too if he wants. You don't have to have him with them on. He's not packaged with them on. If you see right here, the little circular shape, that's where they're in the box. You also get a polka dot effect piece, which I will put on the figure. And then you also get an extra gauntlet, which can be swapped out on his right arm. I tried removing the left arm one, but it does not work. This one's almost like glued down. This one is not. However, it did take me a hairdryer to take off the hand so I could get to the gauntlet. So I'm going to do my best here to try to remove the hand, but if you want to do this on your own PolkaDot Man action figure, what I recommend is if you have decent sized nails, you want to try to get it so like your nail is underneath his hand here. That way the ball joint doesn't get ripped. And then you just want to twist and twist and twist. And it'll eventually come loose. So there you go. If I can zoom or focus here. So there's how the ball pegs work and how the hands work. So if you want to, you can actually swap this gauntlet out, which is open. And then you can swap it with this gauntlet. So the way it works is there's a little cutout there, and then there's a bit of, doesn't want to focus on that. There's a little bit of an indent in there, if you can see that. So you just line it up. And I'm not going to put the hand back on because I prefer to pose him with the other gauntlet on. Sometimes getting it on can be a bit of a challenge, but Alright, there you go. I had to do that off camera. But you can totally get it on, and now his gauntlets match if you don't want him to be attacking anyone. And then to remove it, just comes right off, like no resistance. Getting it on is the problem. So yeah, that just goes on like that. Sorry for it not being focused. And then you just... Come on, get on there. Sometimes the ball peg moves and it makes it harder to put the hand on, but it's not on all the way. All you gotta do is just... Yeah, you hear that snap? That's how you know it's in there. Alright, so let's go ahead and put on the polka dot effect piece. The easiest way I found to do this, it was very hard out of the package, but now it's a little bit more soft. So you could open this up all the way, but I wouldn't recommend that because that'll stress the plastic over time. So what I'd recommend is to just thread it through his hand here. Hold on, let me see if I can get the focus over here. Come on. There you go. I don't know why my camera's not focusing so well, but that goes on the open gauntlet, which has the lines up. So the closed gauntlet is pretty smooth, like I said, and then the open gauntlet is the one with the ridges. So yeah, he can totally use his effect power, although the way he uses it in the movie, which if you haven't seen the movie, please go see the movie if you're of proper age. It is rated R. There's a lot of gore. Definitely better than Suicide Squad. So you can put the gauntlets on, like so. Lining them up's not too bad. Honestly, they go on pretty easy. And once they're on there pretty good. And here's a comparison to the card so you can just see the likeness and the suit. So if you notice on the card here, it's like more of a bluish white. Over here, this is almost like a tannish color, which I don't have a problem with. It's just, McFarlane's very like anal about their details. Like they really want to make sure it's like really well detailed, and texturally it's really nice. So this figure does do that, but this was probably based on some concept art, and then this was the final picture that they got for the card or artwork here. So pretty much all the details you'd expect on here would be here, but what I really appreciate about this figure is every dot that is molded on here has paint on it. Every single dot. There's not one single dot that's molded that's unpainted. So they really went to town just decoing this figure. It's crazy. Just give you a good look at all the dots. There's only four colors, sorry. Red, yellow, blue, and green. I noticed there's a lot of blue on the back, but not so much the front. And they don't put any green on his actual power effect piece here. He does not come with any alternate hands, but the hands he does have are good enough. So he comes with like a high five like hand, kind of outstretched. And then he comes with this kind of like crunched up looking hand where he's like got carpal tunnel. Something weird about the hands is both of them in the palms, they're raised. It doesn't look right because like your hand doesn't do that. Like this is concave, not convex. So I don't. That's the only weird molding thing on this that I'm not a big fan of. I really do like this figure though. I mean, let's take a look at that head sculpt. I think that's a pretty good likeness to David Dastmalchian. Like, I'd say that's almost spot on. I do wish he had more of a smiling or an angry expression. I'm not a big fan of like neutral expressions on action figures. I like to have my figures have some, character, like Rita Repulsa that I reviewed not in the future. Sorry, I filmed these videos out of order, so that'll be a future review. But anyway, yeah, I think they did a good job with the likeness here. So, likeness-wise, I'd say this is pretty good in comparison to the other figures in this line. Unlike the unmasked variant for Bloodsport that's a Walmart exclusive, I will not be getting that version. One thing that it also really bugs me is how this whole section is. Like, the arms and legs are fine, but the upper body and the lower body. So it kind of looks like he's got really wide hips. That's because of the diaper they gave him. What do I mean by diaper? This is all rubber. All of this from here down is rubber, and then all of this from here up is rubber. The upper body's rubber, just like John Cena. However, under here, you see that waist section? That's not a separate piece. That's also rubber. What's weird about how they did this is you still got the upper body movement. You don't have lower body movement, so really he can still bend forward, but not by much. But the way they did this, and I hope I can get this on camera, is if you see, there's a little cutout there. So there's really 3 pieces of rubber here instead of it being 2 pieces of rubber and then 2, movement pieces like Peacemaker had. So another molding issue I have is actually over here. There's actually a bit of weirdness going on with this arm. It's kind of hard to see, but it doesn't line up perfectly. And look, I'm not a stickler for things lining up perfectly, but this side does. This side lines up good. I have no issue with that, but this one just looks kind of weird, and I have to have the arm positioned so that this little overlap of plastic isn't putting pressure on the figure. It might be a little difficult to see, but the upper part where the shoulder is, there's a little bit extra plastic here that kind of rubs against the upper forearm here. So not a big fan of that. So posability wise, I'm pretty sure he has a dumbbell joint in his head because he can get pretty good side to side, tilt, tilt. He can look down very little. He can look up a little bit better. But, he's not a flying character. He really doesn't need that super posable neck. So, you do have the faux butterfly joint piece, but actually, instead, unlike Peacemaker, they just left the hole blank there. They didn't put the piece in there. So you still got the, forward and backward movement, and it's not really hindered. I think the reason they did that is because of the shoulder plate here. They basically molded it a little bit larger so that it covers up that hole, essentially. There is one gripe here that I have. If you look at the card here, you can see his torso's kind of like a parenthesis. It starts small and goes larger and then goes back in on itself. This one is like inverted. This looks a little too small to me. Like, I wish they would have buffed out the upper torso, because that's just, that just does not look right in comparison to the photo that they include with the card here. And some of the polka dots are different colors, like, hold on, it's right here. So you see that's yellow and then that's red, but this green one is supposed to be bigger in blue. But does that really bug me? No, it doesn't. I don't really care that the polka dots are the wrong color. I'm just glad that they're all painted. And anyway, back to posability. Sorry about that little tangent. His forearms are actually much better than Peacemaker's. They actually blend much better than Peacemaker's. And thankfully, his arms are pretty much straight as can be. Peacemaker was a bit curved, and it really kind of hindered the look of the figure. So hand-wise, it's got those weird ball hinges. So like you can spin the ball hinge around, as you can see. Getting it back into place is not too bad. And then it's got the hinge on both sides. And I did say he has the upper like ab crunch swivel, but he doesn't have the lower ab crunch. And then leg-wise, this is where I have issues with the figure. So because of the way the diaper works, they have to make him have like a little bit of a butt. And when you put his legs all the way down, you can see it comes out of the diaper. And it can be kind of difficult to get it back in, but it's not too bad. If you really wanted to, just get a hairdryer, heat it up, and it'll be fine. I didn't do that with the legs. I had to do that for the hands so I could replace the forearm. Leg-wise, though, the issue I have is actually with the lower hinge here. So the upper hinge works really nice. Very loose, but still ratcheted. The lower joint, though, I can barely twist it past 2 without having to do that. So like if I tried to just do it by itself, you can see I can't get it past that. It's basically stuck. So I have to pull his leg all the way up if I want to move this down. Moving it back into place isn't too bad, though, if you wanted to get like a running pose. So if you get this figure, watch out for your lower limbs to be a little harder to move. Speaking of which, his feet. The problem I have with his feet is, if you notice this one, this boot looks fine. But this one is bent backwards slightly, and I have tried using a hairdryer and just to no avail. It's the way the molding works and the hinge joint in there. I have tried pulling it down a little bit, and that somewhat helps, but really it doesn't do much of anything. You do have the nice toe bend, which isn't curved, thankfully, so if you could stand this figure up by himself, it would work. But like I said, because of the issue I have with that one leg piece, I can't stand him up without a stand. So again, if you get this figure, just watch out for that. And okay, I got him to stand up for like a millisecond there. So it is possible to stand him up on his own, just very difficult. Let me put his goggles back on so I can pose him with some size comparisons. So the first size comparison I know many of you want to see. Okay, he's standing, good. Is Peacemaker. And here is a ruler, which I meant to include in other videos of mine, but as you can see, Peacemaker is about 7 and almost a half inches tall, and then PolkaDot Man is almost exactly 7 inches tall. They look great together. They're pretty much in scale. Funnily enough, I do have another PolkaDot Man figure to compare him to, but it's the Lego PolkaDot Man. He's really tiny. So yeah, it's like a baby next to him. Yeah. It took me a while to find this guy because I don't have him in my DC stands back here, because this is just the DC superheroes theme, and this was from the Lego Batman movie. I wouldn't mind getting more of those, but I don't have the room for it. Anyway, and let's see, last size comparison, let's go with Psycho Red here, since I have him just in arm's reach. And then there's a size comparison. I mean, obviously these characters will never meet because, you know, 2 different properties, but I like to put Lightning Collection next to them so you can see the size difference, because these figures are very tall. 7 inches is really imposing on the action figure sub-theme. Anyway, finally, let's take a look at the box so you can see this is collectible King Shark 1 of 4. PolkaDot Man on the bottom there. It's got the nice blue background in the back. On the left side, you got PolkaDot Man, the Suicide Squad, twice. Once for the actual logo and once beneath PolkaDot Man. And then on the right side here, you'll see there's a sticker here. And I'm like, what's under this sticker? They actually misprinted the wrong name. They put Peacemaker here. So they just stuck a sticker on it and said, that's good enough. I've seen that happen multiple times with other companies. Like, there was Batman Arkham Knight. It was a strategy guidebook, and they put like 2 eyes and no like N. It was weird. Anyway, here's the back, and you can see he's 1 of 4, so I have 1 of 3, so I need 2 and 4. And that's how you build King Shark. And then there's all the other figures you can get, minus the variants. The variants have the exact same cards. And then on the top of the box here, just says Suicide Squad, McFarlane Toys, 22 points of articulation. And then on the bottom, you get all the legalese nonsense and the barcode. So yeah, overall, I think this figure's really good. Especially for the price that I paid, $20 instead of 25, like absolute steal in my opinion. So if you guys really liked the movie, or you really like PolkaDot Man as a character, I think that this figure is probably the only time I'll ever see a PolkaDot Man in the line, unless, the character from the movie gets really popular and then they do a spin-off. I think it's excellent, This may only be my second McFarlane figure, but I'm really impressed with what they're offering. I never went with the Mattel DC Multiverse figures because honestly, I thought they looked too much like toys. But this here blurs the line between toy and like statue, and I really appreciate that for the price point it's at. Still, I would like to see some improvements. For example, the diapers. Some of them are just a little too big, and they get in the way of posability. With this figure, it's not too bad, but the issue is that the upper body and the lower body aren't really a good size in comparison to each other. They look a little out of whack, especially when you compare it to the official card, the artwork from the actual movie. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I don't know when I'll get the other 2 figures from this line, so I'll let you know. And I'll do a review on those too, and then we can build King Shark. So thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for more McFarlane toys and Power Rangers Lightning Collection reviews. Took me a minute, sorry about that. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, of course. And let me know what you want to see for future videos. Anyway, thanks for watching. Peace.